let's try this shit again. Hey, welcome to the Morning Night Live. It's Iowa Caucus Day. I had to change something. I don't know what happened here. Something when I went back to my old set. Who knows? I have no idea. But I've got to figure it out. At least I can get this one working. And we're going to continue on. Yes, we will. Today's the Iowa Caucuses. I know I spelled it wrong in the title, but you know what? Just saying, let's do this. Let's just, fuck it. Play the intro. Ladies and gentlemen, coming to you live from the Lucky Dog Studio in a hidden location somewhere in the upper Midwest of the United States of America, it's a brother making his own way, but with all the wrong opinions. Welcome to the Morning Night Live with your host, yours truly, P. Dog Night. Alrighty then, welcome to Morning Night Live. It is February 3rd, 2020. We had a big old Super Bowl last night, and that was exciting, except for one problem. I went to bed at the end of the third quarter. And I'm laying in bed, and my buddies who have this little, we have this little tweet chat group, not tweet group, text message group that we chat on a lot. And I noticed my phone was lighting up and getting dark and lighting up and getting dark over and over and over. And I'm like, okay, there must be something going on in this game. And so and they said something about it being down to the wire. And I'm like, well, what happened? Because it was 20-10 San Francisco when I went to bed. I picked up my phone, clicked. I'm like, oh my God. I turned it sideways, clicked my thing so I could watch the end of the game. And it's like, it's 24-10, 24-20. And then the Chiefs drive and score again, in that thing. And I'm like, oh my God. It was glorious. I was actually kind of rooting for the Chief anyway. Am I frozen again? No, I'm not frozen again. Okay. Anyway, it was an exciting game. Not what I really wanted to talk about today. Although there's a couple things that people are talking about on Twitter that might show up in the trending thing, when people trend. And we'll see if that happens or not. I know a lot of people are talking about the halftime show. A lot of people talking about the national anthem. And apparently someone sat during the national anthem that wasn't supposed to. I think they were just in the luxury box. And a lot of times, what's funny? If you actually look in those luxury boxes, there's a lot of people who sit through the national anthem, but because of who they were, I think they got a little more coverage than normal. But I don't care. Reload. Yes, reload. If you're still frozen, you can reload. Everything's working now. I just had to go back to a different set. Unfortunately, I got my 2020 set up here still. I'll have this fixed by tomorrow for damn sure. Anyway, so it is the Iowa caucuses today. Lots of news going on, but first. So Chicago Mike, are you good? I hope you're good there. Anyway, let's say good morning to everybody real quick. Good morning, Jason Burns, who gets the bell and was first. Gets the bell. Good morning. Good morning, Sheagrath, C. Thomas, Maniac Man, Tyler F., Cynical Lindsay, Patrice Ripley, Duck Dog, Chicago Mike, RVA. I'm scrolling. MC, Hammer Time. You know what? I should play that Hammer Time thing for Hammer. Anyway, I do have a Hammer Time GIF for. Well, that's if I don't even know what the donation amount for that one is. If you do a donation of. Where's Hammer Time? That's $7.49. That gives you the Hammer Time little riff for MC. Anyway, also good morning to D.I. Freighter. People are rolling in. I know Kessler, Functional. I think Snugs McLeod. Who is Snugs McLeod? Yes. Good morning, everybody. So yeah, I got. Oh, by the way, thank you, Tyler F and Necrosol for retweeting the show this morning too. I appreciate that. It looks like someone. Oh, Zip Tie has a. Let's see. Hello. Have you tried turning it on and off again? Yes, this is beautiful. Thank you for the okay. Let's do the gift here. That's yes, that's funny. Have you tried turning it off and on again? Yes, I did. And apparently when I change my setups, I have like four different well, if you're familiar with OBS, I have four different whatever uh, setups for different types of shows. And apparently, one of the setups I got the mic situation screwed up, so I'll have to figure that out by tomorrow and go so I can go back to my old set. Anyway, that doesn't really matter now. We're working. Make sure if you have never been here before to hit the subscribe button and hit that little bell when you see that pop up so you get notifications of the streams. Also, you can follow me on Twitter at PDogKnight. You can also, if you like what we do, hit the like button. Dog can hit the thumbs down, but everyone else can hit the thumbs up. And if you want to participate in the show, you can through super chats. Those are always very helpful. That's how I upgrade the equipment. And here's something that I'm going to do. I'm about to set up a new studio. We're building a little studio in the basement, and so I'm probably gonna have to get some new sound equipment, whatever. So that's what I do with that kind of stuff. Oh, good morning, Peter Allman too. Okay, let's get started because I got a lot to cover today. We'll see how much we get to. Oh, I don't know what the hell that was. Okay, let's start with President Trump's coming week, according to the New York Post editorial board. Good morning, Check Your Logic. How you doing? New York Post editorial board thinks President Trump's about to have an excellent week. I guess we'll see. Here it is. It's shaping up as a pretty awesome week if your name is Donald J. Trump. Monday night brings the Iowa caucuses, which now seem likely to deliver a big win for Bernie Sanders. Oh, we'll have to have a little discussion about that. I'm not so sure. I am just not so sure. Now, Bernie has very enthusiastic supporters, and that could very well be a good day for Bernie Sanders, but we'll get to that later. Which would set him up for even a bigger win in New Hampshire next week and trigger the Democratic establishment into both panic over the collapse of Joe Biden and venomous fury as it tries to take Bernie down before he runs away with the nomination. Yeah, I don't think the DNC would be real happy if Bernie Sanders was their candidate, but that's just me thinking out loud. Even more mixed results out of Iowa raise the prospect of a long nomination fight and maybe even a brokered convention where they will put Hillary Clinton as their nominee. No, that's just me talking. I just think that's funny. It's you gotta admit it's a little bit funny. It would be hilarious. Anyway, and on Tuesday night, President Trump delivers his State of the Union address. Can't wait for that. Where he'll quite rightly be able to declare the nation is strong. Yeah. With solid economic growth and jobs for all who want them and a Dow that's more than 50% higher than when he won the White House. Remember when Paul Krugman was saying that the election of Donald Trump would turn the world into there'd be a worldwide recession if Donald Trump became president. Okay, joke's on you. All right. Not to mention a new North American trade agreement, just as candidate Trump promised. China desperate to end the trade war, and America's NATO allies paying much more of their fair share for collective defense, among other clear policy successes that his critics once claimed to be impossible. Yeah. I was never really convinced after reading Art of the Deal and all with the Art of the Comeback or whatever that necessarily Trump was this great deal maker, but he sure seems to have delivered on a lot of campaign promises. Remember that sentence. Remember that sentence in a minute, okay? Just remember that. Um, this comes Wednesday. Then comes Wednesday. Senate vote to reject the House's articles of impeachment, with several Democratic senators poised to join the Republican majority in a humiliating defeat for House Democrats. Now, it'll be interesting to see if that really comes to fruition. Will Joe Manchin, Doug Jones from Alabama, there's a handful. The dude from Tester from Montana. There's possibly a handful of Democratic senators who kind of see the writing on the wall and maybe will vote to acquit the president. But and we'll see. No, I haven't seen Dank's Brexit video. I'll have to check that out. Anyway, the opposition the opposition party. I can't even say it. The opposition party is reduced to pretending that Minority Leader Chuck Schumer scored a big win by delaying the final Senate vote until after Trump's big national TV moment on Tuesday. As if the president would let that mere formality stop him from rubbing the reality of defeat in his critics' faces. If it gets any better than this for the president, he's going to get tired of winning. Well, it should be a pretty good week for the president. It's not always going to stay that way. The Democrats are not going to stop. Okay, they're not going to stop. But you know what? I think for the people who don't spend their entire time on Twitter and following what political people say, just people who are out there, just regular Americans who don't spend all of their time talking about this shit, I think they're just going to see it as petty. I really do. And, granted, I think what's going to happen is the House of Representatives is going to keep pushing. They're going to call in John Bolton. They're going to call in whoever they can. They're going to go through the subpoena process. They're going to continue investigating, and they're going to try to. I'm convinced that before the election, you may see a third and fourth article of impeachment come up, because there's no such thing as double jeopardy in the impeachment process. That's a criminal process. Now, granted, it is in the Constitution. I don't know what they're going to do. They're going to try to come up with something. But here's the problem. I think for some reason, I almost think that John Bolton, that little excerpt that came from his book that got leaked in the New York Times, that said the president would have preferred that there was an investigation of Biden before they released the funds. Preferred? I think we've talked about that word once or twice here. Preferred. Preferred. Prefer. Not demanded, not required, not conditioned, but preferred. Preferred, huh? Interesting word they use there. I just don't think so. Anyway, let's move on. But before I do, good morning, Kessler and Jay Wolf, RVA. I think, RVA, you were already here. And Mike Savage. How you doing, gang? Welcome. Welcome to Morning Night Live. Hit the like button. Hit that thumbs up thing up there. Okay. Moving on. So we're talking a little bit about Iowa today. Well, apparently now the new IBD poll shows that Biden's this is news for Trump too. Investor Business Daily had a poll. Let me find the right key here, because we're in Boomer Vision today for some reason. It looks like the Investor Business Daily poll shows Biden's lead over Trump has essentially vanished. I didn't know he was still leading by the president. But anyway, a new poll from Investor Business Daily shows Joe Biden's lead over President Trump has essentially vanished to a mere 1 point after having been as high as 13 points in August. Oh, most analysts believe that a Democrat would have to defeat President Trump nationally by a margin of at least 2%, if not higher, since Hillary won the popular vote by 2% but lost the Electoral College vote map by a large margin. Meanwhile, the same poll shows Trump over Bernie by 2, over Warren by 4, and by Buttigieg by 4. Per IBD, in a head-to-head general election polling, Joe Biden and Michael Bloomberg hold 1 point leads over the President Trump. Michael Bloomberg is not going to be president. I'm sorry. He's spending a lot of money, though. You know, he's spent... Sorry, gang. I got a little cough, as always. But I do have my reparations coffee handy. You know that Bloomberg has already spent $200 million in the 5 weeks that he's decided to run for president. $200 million. And it's all his own money because he doesn't have to. I think he's the 5th or 6th richest person in America. I mean, he bought his... Oh, and the Democrats changed their debate rules to allow Mike Bloomberg to debate the next debate, whatever that is, which is hilarious. Yeah, Wong Kong flu. I don't know. I've been coughing for months. They changed the debate rules. Of course, he gave them what 300. I think he might have given the DNC like $300 million or something like that. I don't know. Maybe it's $325,000. I don't know. They spent a lot of money. I'm tired of being the Big Gay Ice Cream Mike ads. Yeah, Big Gay Ice Cream, the company that has a flavor called Salty Pimp. Anyway, Trump leads Sanders by 2, but by 4. Biden's lead over Trump has essentially vanished, falling from 13% in August to 5% in December to 2% in January's poll. And okay, so that's exciting, I guess, for anyone who, if you're a Trump fan, then absolutely that's great news, right? More great news for President Trump. Moving on, the latest Iowa poll. Apparently, Joe's having some trouble all over the place. Latest Iowa poll puts Bernie Sanders and Biden even ahead of the Monday caucuses. Former Vice President Joe Biden and Senator Bernie Sanders are locked in a dead heat in the final Iowa caucus polls released early Sunday, leaving the outcome of Monday's first-in-the-nation presidential contest up for grabs. Although the Des Moines Register abruptly pulled their poll Saturday night, that's kind of sketchy. They said because due to some font issue or something. Anyway, although the Des Moines Register abruptly pulled their poll Saturday night after discovering that former South Bend Mayor Peter Buttigieg may have been left off some questionnaires because of user error, now Monmouth and CBS News reported results in their battleground tracker polls that put Sanders just 1 point ahead of Biden going into the final stretch. According to CBS News YouGov, Sanders has the support of 26% of likely caucus goers, with Biden 1 point back at 25%. Buttigieg is also in the running for the lead at 22%, inside the poll's 4% margin of error. Elizabeth Warren, who once hoped for a win in Iowa to kick off upstart campaign early in primary states, now trails well behind at 15%. So, the Democrats have 3 white males leading their Iowa poll. Bernie, don't let Joe play with your poll. Okay, thank you, Snugs. So here's now let's remember. Now, when the Republicans had their primaries in 2016 and the Iowa caucuses and whatnot, let's remember when they finished their whole process. I think would come when they had their convention in August or November or September, whatever. Their last three candidates were Donald J. Trump. Excuse me. Click, click, click. Ted Cruz. And what's the surgeon's name? The surgeon, the low energy guy. My head is just spinning today. I don't know. That whole beginning start. Housing Urban Development Secretary. Someone tell me his name. God, why am I the greatest surgeon in the planet? And I can't remember his damn name. Okay, you guys know what I'm talking about. They had a black and a Hispanic, yes. Thank you. Carson, Ben Carson, not Carlson, Carson. Ben Carson, thank you. Those are the last three Republicans left when the Republicans had their primary season, right? And in fact, I think Marco Rubio might have been like the last one to drop out before those guys. I mean, it was like two Hispanics, a black guy, and what's the president's name? Donald Trump. And we're going into Iowa, and we've got. Wait a minute. Let me just show you this picture, because if you haven't looked at my thumbnail, I'm just saying it's pretty funny. Here's the thumbnail from today. Today, we have the Iowa Caucasians. I mean caucuses. Oh, I mean, we're talking like a piece of rice that fell into a vat of flour on a snowy day at the North Pole. It's like that's pretty white there. I don't know why I'm reveling in this. That's just not nice. I mean, that's playing identity politics, right? So anyway, the Des Moines Register poll was expected to show Sanders in the lead, but still within the margin of error, and that tracks the Monmouth poll released last week. So here's the thing. Here's my prediction. Now I lived in Iowa for a while, and so in fact, when I was in college, I participated in the Iowa caucuses just to see what the hell was going on, because it's not like a primary where they go and they vote, right? They just vote, and then here's who wins, and here's there, blah, blah, blah. That's not how it works in Iowa. In Iowa, you actually get to go and you go to this. They have caucus events all over every city and town in Iowa, right? And the people who really want to participate. This is why Bernie, I think, has somewhat of an advantage, because the Bernie people are passionate about Bernie. So you go to the caucus site, right? And then you get there, and you break up into groups. So this group is all the Bernie supporters. You go over there, and all the Biden supporters you go over there, and all the jigs people go over there, and Klobuchar people over there, and Warren people over here, and Mike Gravel people over here. Haven't heard much from Mike Gravel, have you? So they all split up, right? And then the undecideds go over here, go in one space there, right? You see us break up. And then you take a little straw poll and you see how many you got in each group. And then you got to get to mingle and talk and try to convince people that you're going to go here and what? No, I was not the only black guy in Iowa. Come on now. My cousins live in Iowa. My grandparents were from Iowa. My dad and my mom wasn't from Iowa, but whatever. Oh yeah, Tulsi too. Yeah, Tulsi people. The Tulsi person could go right there. Although I wonder if she has any ground game in Iowa. I don't know. Anyway, so then they go and try to convince the independent voters, and then they say, okay, now listen, we're only going to take the top 3 people from this particular site. Okay, so if you are with, let's say, Mike Gravel, or what's the crazy woman who dropped out, or if you were one of these people, or if you're one of these undecideds, now we're going to try to narrow it down to these 3 people from this site. And so they're saying, well, if let's say Elizabeth Warren isn't in the top three, right? Well, we're going to try to get the Elizabeth Warren people to come over here or come over here, and the Amy Klobuchar people to come over here. Now remember, Amy Klobuchar is pretty popular in Iowa. She's got like, I mean, well, Warren's at 15%, Klobuchar's at 10%, and they're actually Democrats. Okay, Bernie Sanders is not. And here's why I think Bernie Sanders may not, even though he has a lead when you say poll-wise in Iowa, here's why he doesn't necessarily win the Iowa caucuses. Marianne Williamson, thank you, that's her name. Here's what happens. The people who say, okay, we need you to pick one of the top three people here, right? I don't think necessarily people that would want Elizabeth Warren or Amy Klobuchar or any of the other candidates are going to go with Bernie. I got a feeling that most Democrats are going to stick with Biden. And so I think Biden may pull this out in Iowa. And now, granted, Bernie's going to win New Hampshire. There's no doubt about that. He's up big time in New Hampshire, but that's because it's next to Vermont, and they're all that same vent. But I don't think, even though now here's the caveat. Like I said earlier, Bernie supporters are very, very loyal and active. That's the one thing that if they can turn out all those Bernie supporters in the Iowa caucuses and all these polling sites, I think that's the chance that Bernie has to come out with the lead in the Iowa caucuses. And Iowa and New Hampshire, even though they go first, I don't know that there's been a president that has won the Iowa caucuses in the last like 6 presidential elections. Six? No, excuse me. I guess Reagan may not count. No, I don't even think Reagan won the Iowa caucuses in 1980, if I remember right. I thought for sure that it was, I want to say Gerald Ford maybe won it, or I don't know. But anyway, so but Iowa, man, you go in there and you actually have to talk to people. You don't just go in there and press a button or check a box. You actually talk to people and you have to convince other people to come with you. And so I don't think that, I don't know if that's good for Bernie, because the people who aren't already Bernie people are more establishment type Democrats. And I think Joe Biden gets the nod for that. It won't be Warren. It won't be Buttigieg. Although Buttigieg could come in a strong third, or possibly there could be people who consider him as that alternative, that Democrat alternative that's not Joe Biden. Because Joe Biden's getting a lot of bad press, even though he's not supposed to be. But, that's just how it is. Anyway, now, and also Biden keeps making weird... Biden just has issues, okay? And speaking of Biden's issues, here's one that came up in Iowa. Protester taunts Biden in Iowa. You could be the Hillary of 2020. By the way, good morning, Toasted Network, Cynical Lindsay, and who else has showed up? Duck Dog, were you all here? I think, or did you just... No, you were here earlier. Good morning, Duck Dog, anyway. I said it once, I'll say it twice, whatever. Glad you all are here. Protester taunts Biden in Iowa. You could be the Hillary of 2020. This was hilarious. This is a troll from some comedy troupe or whatever. A lone protester wearing a Settle for Biden t-shirt heckled the former vice president at a campaign stop in Indianola, Iowa, which is 30 miles south of Des Moines. I know that because I lived in Des Moines. I did. From the Washington Examiner. I just wanted to say that you're a fine candidate, and I'm planning on settling for Biden in 2020, said the man wearing a Settle for Biden shirt. I think we should all settle for Biden. I think you could be the Hillary of 2020. Biden supporters shouted for the man to sit down before breaking into a Let's Go Joe chant. Let's just let's just take a look at this. This. I think this was hilarious. Here we go. I think this is it right here. Let's go.
And most importantly,
Vice President, I just want to say you're a fine candidate. I'm planning on settling for Biden in 2020. I think we should all settle for Biden. I think you could be the Hillary of 2020. Anyway.
I'm not sure whether.
Now, wait. Now, before I let this go on, let's go back and see what his shirt said. Look at his shirt. He actually has a Biden shirt, and let's move it back a little bit because there's other Biden shirts that look like this. See, now look. That's cool. Here, I'm gonna start. So his shirt actually matches. His shirt matches the Biden shirt, except it says "settle for Biden," right? Now, listen to what Joe says to him.
I'm not sure whether. I tell you what, man. I thought they were exaggerating when they said that the Republicans said they were sending out 80 people.
Ooh, 80 people.
To participate in the Democratic caucus here. Well, I'm not sure who he's with, but hey, by the way, give us back your Joe shirt, okay?
Give us back your Joe shirt. Oh, I would love. You know what would be hilarious? If he gave the shirt back to Joe, and then Joe, not reading the shirt, put the shirt on. Settle for Joe. That is hilarious. Anyway, wait, what? Now that's interesting. I didn't even see this. Michael Bloomberg is also seeking the Democratic presidential nomination. Bloomberg is the founder and majority owner of Bloomberg LP, the parent company of Bloomberg News. Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. Now, this is interesting. That's a Bloomberg clip. I wonder if Bloomberg puts this at the end of all the clips. Yeah, it's a quick tape from Bloomberg. Oh my gosh. So they're putting... Anyway, previous to the protester, Biden was asked to get in the middle of a domestic marriage crisis. A man who says his wife was divorcing him asked Biden what he should do. Biden told him he would talk to him after the event. Let's look at the. Do they have the marriage clip? Oh, they don't. Anyway, let's just. This is funny too. I think it was like Let's Troll Biden Day in Indianola, Iowa. Said, I'll talk to you afterwards, okay? I'm happy to. I promise I'll talk to you afterwards, Biden 77 told the man. Could we just get this out right now? The man replied, to which Biden said no. The man continued talking, and members of the crowd began booing him to sit down. I'm beginning to see why your wife left you, Biden quipped, prompting laughter from the crowd. Sir, I promise I'll spend time with you afterwards. Joe Biden has been married twice. His first wife, Nelia, died in a car crash in 1972. The crash also killed his daughter, Naomi. He married his second wife, Jill, in 1977. Both a protester and the guy getting a divorce belong to a political comedy group, The Good Liars. Apparently, the duo showed up at Andrew Yang's event the day before asking for money out of his wallet. They also asked him if he was a robot. They went from the Biden event to an Elizabeth Warren rally where one of the men proposed to the candidate. These guys are professional trolls bashing Republicans with equal zest as Democrats. Donald Trump's new book, Triggered, How the Left Thrives on Hate and Wants to Silence Us, got a hilarious makeover at a Barnes & Noble's bookstore in New York. Comedians Davram Stivler and Jason Selvig, better known as the comedy duo The Good Liars, went into the New York bookstore on Thursday and switched out the covers of Trump Jr.'s newly released book. They stated that the switch made it a little more honest. The new covers that were placed on the books had the same image as the original, but the title had been changed to Daddy, Please Love Me, How Everything I Do Is to Try to Earn My Father's Love. So anyway... they are equal opportunity trolls. They're funny dudes. And the settle for Biden is just fantastic. All right, moving on. Rival candidates. Let's see. Miss Morin, will you marry me? Please. Oh, goodness gracious. More on the Iowa caucuses. Apparently, the rival candidates aren't happy with Bernie Sanders. Rival candidates say Sanders is planning to declare victory in Iowa before the results are in. Democratic presidential campaigns in Iowa are sounding the alarm that the Bernie Sanders campaign may be planning the spin campaign of all spin campaigns, claiming victory before the results are fully tabulated. They will be able to do this because of the way the Iowa Democratic Party has set up the reporting of caucus results. Instead of one result, they will announce 3 separate outcomes. According to Vox, the problem is that there will be 3 results coming in after Iowa voters gather on the evening of Monday, February 3rd. Yes, because that's the thing with the caucuses. They got to do it 3 times because they have 3 separate votes, and then they report what happens. Well, Bernie could very well be the winner in the first vote, but anyway, I'll just read this so that it makes sense. The problem is that there will be 3 results coming in after Iowa voters gather for the evening of Monday, February 3rd. One will be for something called state delegate equivalents. This is the number previously used to determine the winner of Iowa Democratic caucuses, something I'll explain more in a bit. But the Iowa Democratic Party will also be tallying and reporting 2 other sets of numbers. How many actual people voted for each candidate in a given caucus, first an initial tally, then a final tally taken after lower performing candidates are eliminated, because they go out and the lower performing candidates, they say, sorry, you got to take one of the top 3, and then they count them. So that's why I say Bernie could very well win a first tally, but everyone comes in supporting who they want, and then they have to, settle for Joe. Anyway, AP and other major news outlets say they will declare a winner of the caucuses based on who won the most delegates, but that number won't be announced until after the other 2 results are released. So you can see the opportunities for spinning results. Which results? Whichever makes the candidate appear to be the winner. So that's how it works in Iowa. And so there you go. This is much longer. Politico says a claim of victory after the first vote could encourage supporters of weaker candidates to leave the caucus early without realigning with another candidate. That's the other thing. So so Bernie does that again. Some of the weaker candidates, they're people who are there for them. If they leave the caucuses early instead of joining one of the top 3. That's how Bernie could keep his lead. We'll see if that works. Or it could create an artificial bandwagon effect by encouraging some caucus goers to jump to the Sanders side under the belief that he will be the victor. Either scenario stands to hurt the campaigns that are more reliant than Sanders on the realignment round that happens after the first preference vote is cast. During realignment, supporters of the candidates who failed to hit a 15% threshold in the first vote are freed up to switch to another candidate. And that's how it works at the caucuses. There's some handshaking and hand wringing and convincing, and you gotta talk to people. It's an interesting way to do a primary versus a primary, because then you gotta, it's kind of like, what do they do? Remember that ranked choice voting crap that they were talking about doing in actual elections? None of that. Okay. But it stimulates that, where, you know what, look, your candidate's not going to have a chance. You need to align with one of the top people who have more than 15%. And that's where I'm saying that I don't know how much crossover vote Bernie would have compared to other more establishment Democrats. Bernie has his super, big time backing people, but they tend to be on the, I don't know what the word is. They tend to be on that, I don't know. I'm not going to say it. Socialists, communists, not Democrats. I don't know if you can hear me, but I'm saying it anyway, even though I said I wasn't going to say it. All right, moving on. Okay, what else we got? I had a whole bunch of them here. Oh, yeah. Now, like I said, though, Bernie has the real loyal supporters. And I think part of it, as far as a candidate, Bernie's a lot like okay, you'll understand when I say this. Bernie's a lot like Trump, where he has actual rabid supporters. And I think, honestly, the two most real political candidates that I can, in recent memory, are Bernie Sanders and Donald Trump. Now, you know my saying, Donald Trump is a bit of a jackass, but he's the right jackass for the job. And Bernie Sanders is just a grumpy old man who's been the same ever since he's been in politics, the same old, same old, same old. Nothing changes about Bernie Sanders. for 35 years in politics, nothing changed. He's the same dude. I think all the rest of them are malleable, somewhat corporate hacks, or the corporate himself, Michael Bloomberg, Tom Steyer. But, it's like they're at least, I wouldn't even mind having a Bernie versus Trump presidential race, although I think Bernie would get destroyed. Personally, I just believe that. I don't think there's enough independents who want to make everything free and because here's the thing. Bernie wants, for example, let's talk about free college for just a moment. Do you think that the coal miner in West Virginia and maybe the coal miner's son in West Virginia who didn't go to college and are doing maybe making decent money as a coal miner, or the electrician in Montezuma, whatever, Washington, if there is a Montezuma, Washington, or, the auto mechanic in What Cheer, Iowa. Yes, that's the real name of a town in Iowa. Do you think they really want to have their taxes raised so they can pay for some rich kid's college student loans? That, the family that, they took all the great vacations. They live in the suburbs of Chicago and, have a, $700,000 home. And, rather than just, put a much money aside for the kid to go to college, they took great vacations and bought the big old boat. And then because, it's time for college and the kid is supposed to go to college because he's a rich kid from the suburbs of Chicago, and that's what rich kids from the suburbs of Chicago do. So they took out student loans, and the guy did student loans for a degree in, I don't know, a teaching degree. There's nothing wrong with being a teacher, but they decided to go to the University of Chicago for $80,000 a year. Oh, no, wait, not University of Chicago. That wouldn't work because the University of Chicago doesn't have student loans. They give grants to their kids. But anyway, they went to the university. They went to Northwestern. They went to Northwestern University, big prestigious school, and decided to major in, I don't know, underwater basket weaving, and got a degree, and then figured out they got out of school that they're $250,000 of student loans for underwater basket weaving didn't. There are no jobs. The most highest paying job for an underwater basket weaver is $17 an hour. And so the electrician from the auto mechanic from What Cheer, Iowa, now has to pay twice as much in taxes so that he can pay off that kid student loan. Come on. I'm not buying it. I just don't think so. Or gender studies too. Whatever. Anything. Anyway. New York Post again. Bernie's millennial supporters are prepared for war in the Iowa caucuses. Hell hath no fury like Bernie's millennials if they are thwarted. Bernie Sanders has the youngest, biggest, and most passionate crowds on the eve of the Iowa caucuses. And in Cedar Rapids Saturday night, he primed his supporters to prepare for war, and not just against President Trump. We are taking on the entire political establishment, he told the 3,000-strong crowd. But both Republican establishment and the Democratic establishment, this is the political reality of the moment. Moments before, the Des Moines Register and CNN seemed to confirm his team's paranoia by spiking a crucial poll expected to reflect his rising ascendancy. The poll cancellation at the 11th hour simply came down to a complaint from Pete Buttigieg's campaign after his name was accidentally left off of one of the questions. But it fed nicely into the outsider mentality Sanders is cultivating. One man standing against a rigged system. Oh, it's a rigged system, all right. It's rigged as hell. The Democrats are pulling out all the stuff. Come on, they put John Podesta in charge of the super delegate, whatever they do. He put John Podesta in charge of the super delegates. John Podesta, Hillary Clinton's campaign manager, John Podesta. Give me a break. Anyway, as Joe Biden pokes people in the chest in lackluster rooms full of gray heads and empty chairs, Sanders has tapped millennial energy in almost Trumpian events across Iowa. Now, yeah, this, okay, whatever, you get the point. They got the millennials and they're ready to fight, and some of them are ready to actually burn shit down. Remember, you saw the Project Veritas videos? If you haven't seen those, go check those out. Here's the thing. I found some humor in this because I'm gonna go hit Twitter here in a second. I was on Twitter, which I tend to do once in a while. I go on Twitter and you know, just read and see shit because you know how that works. So someone was really excited about the crowd in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. And so they put out this little video here, and I found something very interesting about it. Oops, hang on. Let me pause this. Let me make this larger and put it on the screen this time. So someone tweeted out this is a crowd at the Bernie Sanders rally real quick here. Oh, let's see if it plays. Come on, baby. Oh, something went wrong. There we go. All right. Okay, so this is a Bernie Sanders rally, right? All right, so you can see this, right? All right, let's pause this for a second. Now, here's what the person said. This is someone named Michael Saman. Please do not contact Michael Saman, but just because I use his name here. I'm here at a Bernie Sanders rally in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, and I can't believe the amount of people here. Okay, so I was looking at that, and I'm like, yeah, that's a pretty impressive crowd. It's hard to see with the blurriness, but whatever. So here it is again. Look now, as I'm looking at this camera view, okay, and they were fairly careful about the camera view. I noticed because I know exactly what this is, what this arena is. This is the U.S. Cellular Center in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. It's basically it's an arena. They have their arena football league. They have an arena football league team at the U.S. Cellular Center. And so I went and looked it up, and I'm like, oh, well, the U.S. Cellular Center holds about, it's like 6,000 or 7,000 people for games, or between 6,000 and 7,000, something like that. And it holds about 8,900 for concerts. So then I went and looked at this video. I'm like, wait a minute. They're showing this venue. And if you notice, as I pause right here, and I'll make it bigger again, notice up here. Notice everything up here. That's all empty seats. And then also, if you look at it, they're all down in this third of the arena. And I'm thinking, okay, so I'm adding this up in my head. I'm thinking, okay, they got about between about 3,000 and 3,500 people there, which is great. That's a big rally for any candidate, especially in Iowa. And so I'm like, okay, that's about 3,500 people. And this person's like, oh, and you're in Iowa, not even in New York or LA. Well, this was the biggest event in Iowa from any campaign from before. 2,400 people at the Bernie AOC rally in Council Bluffs, November 9th. I think this event tops these. Yeah, it's about 3,000 people. And then I'm scrolling down through this. I wonder how many campaigns or okay, that doesn't matter. It was something around here. Someone said something like, what did they say? Oh, half the size of a real Donald Trump rally. And I'm like, well, yeah, because he gets a lot more people at his rallies. And then this person's like, post the video. I'll wait. Well, on last Monday, there was a Trump rally in Des Moines, and it was held at my former university, Drake University. It was held in the Drake Knapp Center, which is our basketball arena at Drake University, which holds 7,200 people for a basketball game and about 9,500 for a concert. Okay? Now, the Knapp Center for that rally was not only full, but they had about 3,000 people outside who couldn't get in because the fire marshal would not allow them to have more people in the building. And so yeah, there was probably 10, 12,000 people at the Trump rally. Now, does that mean does that mean that it's necessarily, shows that there's way more support in Iowa for Trump than there is for Bernie or whatever or not? I don't know. Maybe it does, or maybe just people are more likely, who are rabid about Trump, are more likely to go to a Trump rally. I know some of the people at the Trump rally were people who came from out of state, but that's quite a bit larger. That's quite a larger crowd. Now, they had this article from the Washington Examiner, why Trump's Des Moines rally should make Democrats nervous. I arrived at Drake University's Knapp Center hours in advance with the intention of covering President Trump's Thursday night rally, but along with dozens of other credentialed media, was denied entry, which the Trump campaign said was an order from the fire marshal because the venue, built to accommodate around 7,200 people, was at capacity. Rather than leave, I decided to venture into the crowd of hundreds of Trump supporters, or perhaps over 1,000. There was about 3,000. Here's the thing: one of my fraternity brothers from college was there, and he was like one of the last people not to get in. He was going to the rally, and he was texting all of the rest of us. We have a little text group I told you about. He was texting all the rest of us, said, "Yeah, I couldn't get in, just missed the cutoff." He said there was about 3. The place around there was packed with people. Anyway, now it's okay, and so I decided to venture into the crowd of hundreds of Trump supporters, or perhaps over 1,000, who had gathered outside in the 30-degree weather to watch Trump's speech on a jumbo television screen. It's quite common for political campaigns to book venues that are much smaller than they can fill, except for Bernie Sanders, who did not fill the arena in Cedar Rapids. But Cedar Rapids is a smaller town, too, than Des Moines, just saying. Okay. After all, it's better to have news reports from standing room only auditoriums and long lines than a massive arena that can comfortably fit all attendees, but at risk of images of empty seats, like at the Bernie rally, right? Nonetheless, the fact that Trump was able to draw such a devoted crowd, with some people even camping overnight to be guaranteed entry, and others willing to stand in sub-freezing temperatures to watch the speech on a video screen just to get a taste of the experience, does say something. It speaks to a certain intensity level that makes Trump's re-election more likely than most presidents entering an election year, with an approval rating hovering at around 45%, which is about the same as President Barack Obama's approval rating was when he was running for his second term. Many of the characteristics of a Trump rally have remained the same since 2016. A sea of red MAGA hats shouting down protesters with chants of USA, and lots of laughter at Trump's mockery of his political enemies. The crowd often knows which lines Trump is about to rattle off, but revels in them anyway, almost as if attending a concert and waiting for a musician to play his greatest hits. But one thing struck me. Whether they backed him in 2016 or were more recent converts, one factor that his supporters kept bringing up was their feeling that he had delivered on his promises in a way other elected officials have not. Let me pause to say good morning to Richo and Mitch the Ripper and Chi-Town Jay. It wasn't a Trump supporter in 2016, or I wasn't a Trump supporter in 2016, said Adam Hansen, a Des Moines-based attorney who spoke for Rand Paul in the caucuses 4 years ago. I was one of those never Trump Republicans. I'm familiar with that feeling. I was one of those never Trump Republicans back then. During the caucuses and even in the general election, I was not a big fan. I didn't think he'd deliver. But in the past few years, I'll admit I've been pleasantly surprised with Trump. Hansen said he saw Trump as a bit of a grifter in 2016, but has been enthused by his judicial appointments and the performance of the economy. He added, I'll admit, I was wrong, and if I had to do it over again, I would have voted for the president then. In 2016, Trump was boosted by the intensity of his core supporters, but he also faced many skeptics among conservatives who feared that the longtime Democratic donor who had espoused so many liberal policies over the past decades would revert to form once in office. Eager to negotiate with Chuck Schumer to show his prowess as a deal maker, yet in practice Trump has followed through, or at least attempted to, on a spectrum of issues of importance to conservatives. I think he's done an excellent job, and he's done what he told the American people he was going to do, said Trent Kerr of Oskaloosa, who was a Trump supporter in 2016. And so he's the first politician or first person who has come into office and promises things and actually delivered on promises. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is why he has such a high approval rating among Republicans, even Republicans who didn't think he would be what he said he would be. I'm very familiar with that feeling. Another Trump supporter, Deborah Coburn, similarly said he's the only president since I've been alive who actually does what he said he was going to do. She specifically highlighted his pro-life actions and protections of religious liberty. I'm way more for him in 2020, she said. Coburn conceded Donald Trump can maybe be a bit crude, yes, he can, and has been in what says. I don't know what that means, but I actually appreciate that he's not a typical politician. Crude talk, she said, has no bearing on whether somebody does or does not get things done. Thus, my favorite saying, Donald Trump is a jackass. Ryan Chapman of Indianola actually voted for Hillary Clinton in 2016, but he was at the Trump rally in a MAGA hat. Last time, he thought both nominees were toxic, but decided to give Clinton a chance because of her experience. I did not do that. I didn't go that far at all. I didn't even go anywhere near that. I voted for a giant meteor to destroy the planet. Then my mind was changed by how they attack Trump and how they belittle him in every decision he does. I've not seen this much smear in a president ever. I've never seen so much hatred towards a president. Chapman also praised Trump's handling of the economy, which is hard to argue. They're going to try. They're going to try to tell you the economy sucks. But I'm just telling you, they'll talk about homeless people. I guarantee you. Because every time there's a Republican president, all of a sudden they start talking about all those homeless people that were homeless before he became president. Anyway, it is true that right now Democrats are in a divisive primary and have plenty of time to unite behind the eventual nominees. Senator Bernie Sanders certainly has a passionate following of his own, but Trump has something going for him in 2020 that he didn't have in 2016, and that's a list of conservative policy gains as well as economic metrics that is, to his boosters, make supporting him no longer a leap of faith. So there you go. Yeah, that's very interesting, and a lot of those sentiments are sentiments that I've had myself. I was one of those never Trumpers, and I certainly have at least changed that part. And I really don't know any reason why I would vote for any of the Democrats. I'm just saying, but that's just, that's just me. All right. Let's do a couple more before we get into Twitter trends real quick. Let's see. Now, this is weird because I'm not seeing this, but apparently they see this at the Federalist amid media blitz in Iowa. There's a focus on unity going into the caucuses. In Des Moines, Democratic activists and volunteers don't see their party as divided and fracturing, but mobilizing for a victory no matter the nominee. Yeah, they're starting to see some cracks in that shit. We'll see. Despite incessant media coverage, almost most Americans at this point aren't really paying that much attention to the Democratic nominating contest. That's the thing either. A lot of people don't pay attention at all. And so all they're going to see is, even with impeachment, people aren't paying attention to it unless you're the highly partisans and highly people who are into politics are paying attention to that. But the vast majority of Americans aren't even watching. They hear that, the president was impeached. The president is acquitted. Next. They're not following it that close. Then, is there money in my pocket? Do I have a job now? 5 million people out of poverty. They hear those numbers. And they go, well, the economy must be pretty good. Well, somehow the Democrats are going to have to talk down the economy, an economy that is just booming right now. That's going to be a tough one. Now, of course, coronavirus is causing a little ripple around the world, but whatever. Anyway, not 10 minutes after leaving the airport, I drove past a Pete-mobile. A Pete-mobile van with a giant smiling pig Buttigieg face emblazoned on either side. The first two places I stopped in town, a 1950-style diner near Drake University. Oh, that's the Drake Diner. I've been there. That's a great place. And a coffee shop a few blocks away had signs posted saying major media outlets would be broadcasting from these locations on Monday. CBS at the diner, NPR at the coffee shop. In both places, reporters were already lurking. A film crew loafing in the coffee shop. A reporter at the diner scribbling away while a middle-aged white guy in a Dale Burney shirt excitedly held forth about the coming revolution. You know what? Forget this. Did you see the Super Bowl ads? But I know I really went way out of here. But did you see the Super Bowl ads? Did you see? I saw Trump's. I didn't see. Apparently, Michael Bloomberg, did he throw an ice cream ad during the Super Bowl? The Trump ads during the Super Bowl were interesting because he used that Bernie Revolution phrase. He talked about this. There's a revolution happening in America. Okay, because it's kind of an economic revolution. It's been going great for, the numbers are great for Trump. It's tough to argue anything, and like I said, the Democrats are going to have to try to do that. But I found it funny that he used the word revolution, because I know that's a word Bernie Sanders wants to use. Anyway. All right. Campaign yard signs abound in neighborhoods, as do political ads on every TV. Over the course of a 30-minute lunch on Wednesday, I saw ads for Buttigieg, Joe Biden, Elizabeth Warren, Bernie Sanders, even multiple Tom Steyer ads at a Biden campaign stop. Oh, that's the one thing about living in Iowa. When I lived in Iowa for 8 years. I went to school there, and then I lived there for a few years after I graduated. The one thing about living in Iowa is that, oh my God, the campaign ads before the Iowa caucuses on TV are just like, face melting. Just, oh my gosh, it's just, because, because it's being the first primary state, every candidate drops their entire load, for lack of a better term, of campaign cash in Iowa, because they really want to get that good head start. But if you finish, generally politicians who finish in the top 3 in Iowa, and New Hampshire, tend to last at least until Super Tuesday for the most part. And it just gives a boost. It gives a name recognition boost, whether or not they become the nominee for president, because usually the top one doesn't for some reason. But someone in the top 3 usually does. It's a big deal, right? But wait, what tone what down? Anyway, it's oh my god, the campaign ads and it's brutal. Just you can't you might have some 3-4 candidates in a row if you're watching TV, if you're on a commercial television. Anyway, the media blitz can be distorting. Iowa has always been inundated with news media ahead of the presidential caucuses, but this year it seems to be different. Joseph Hernandez, a 56-year-old Des Moines attorney and Democratic precinct chair, says that although Iowans have always taken their caucuses seriously, we're increasingly led by the media. Before we set the narrative, now we're reacting to polls in the news cycle. Fernandez supports Buttigieg, so his point is well taken. Of course, see now, if you're not in first, you complain about the media setting the agenda. If you're in first, you say, well, we have this great agenda. Duh. He says when recent polls came out showing that the former South Bend mayor lagging behind Biden and Sanders, his fellow Buttigieg reporters fretted over it. As caucus day draws near, Fernandez says he's seen a growing support and excitement for Buttigieg. Of course he has. You're supposed to if you're supporting a candidate, you're supposed to all of a sudden see growing support and excitement for your candidate. But the news cycle is leading some people over their own judgment. Oh, it's the news cycle's fault. I get it. Who's deleting messages? What's going on? What happened? Did I miss something? Oh, Richo, I don't know what's going on, but oh, good God. I'm not sure what's happening. Okay, I guess what you guys, well, I'll figure it out. I'm sorry. Lindsay, I don't know. Okay, you can let me know what's happening. Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, just Richard, please, you guys can figure that out on your time, and I'm sorry that you've been timed out, but it may have been appropriate there, and I appreciate my mods for doing that. Just whatever's going on. All right, I'm sorry, I've been paying attention to the chat. So anyway, let me get out of this. So for some reason, they're saying the Democrats are focusing on unity. I don't know. I'm going to move on because I did have one story about Elizabeth Warren that I wanted to hit before we moved on. And this article's not pleasing me, so I'm going to move on. Because this one I find a little bit of humor in. Elizabeth Warren is pandering to the woke Bernie crowd. Did any of you see this? This is... I don't know if it's funny or if it's just pathetic. Could be a little bit of both. Elizabeth Warren panders to the woke as Bernie surges. This is this Senator Elizabeth Warren's jump the shark moment? She had many close calls already, but her latest stunt, coming right before the Iowa caucuses kick off on February 3rd, seems especially telling. Yes, flagrantly pandering to the woke crowd on a subject that is of great importance to few voters and off-putting to infinitely more. Warren vowed on January 26 that if elected president, she would tap a 9-year-old transgender child to personally vet her Secretary of Education nominee. I'm going to have a Secretary of Education that this young trans person interviews on my behalf, Warren declared at a forum in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. And only if this person believes our Secretary or Secretary of Education nominee is absolutely committed to creating a welcoming environment, a safe environment, and a full educational curriculum for everyone, will that person actually be advanced to be Secretary of Education? The declaration harkens back to a CNN hosted town hall in October in which the child, being shamelessly exploited as a political prop, asked Warren a question on national television. It is a moment moderate Dems would prefer had been long forgotten by now, yet there was Warren, not only dredging it up again, but emphasizing it. And in Iowa, of all places. Yes, in Iowa. This is Senator Christian Gillibrand's territory. Gillibrand was frequently ridiculed throughout the first half of 2019 for her nonstop substance-deprived preening during a short-lived and disastrous bid for the Democratic nomination, whether dressing up with drag queens or holding a contest in which the winner got to drink whiskey with her. The Empire State Senator appeared to be auditioning for a reality TV show, then running for the highest elected office in the land. Before August had even ended, she was gone. Warren's channeling of the ghost of ludicrous rivals past at this late date is inexplicable on the surface, but fully in keeping with her uneven personality on the campaign trail. She can be poised and focused on serious policy matters one moment, and then drift into frivolous, melodramatic posturing the next. All this was on display at the January 14th Democratic debate in Des Moines, Iowa. Warren was strong out the gate, scoring points with stout populist talking points on war and the economy in a clear attempt to outdo progressive lane rival Senator Bernie Sanders. All was going well. And then the mercurial Massachusetts senator proceeded to change gears with a notable lurch, lapsing into hackneyed female power braggadocio as policy heft melted away. Her post-debate confrontation with Sanders, in which she feistily accused him of calling her a liar, came across as contrived and was easily fended off by the Vermont Democratic Socialists. Since that moment, Sanders has soared in the polling in Iowa and New Hampshire, as Warren has sagged. Her earnest slip away from seriousness had proven costly. This is less a mistake and more a pattern. Warren seems to panic when things turn against her. We saw it with her calamitous decision to undergo a DNA test on her fictitious Native American history in the face of constant criticism on the subject. Instead of moving away from the controversy, she exacerbated it. Her pandering on transgender children as a major White House advisor is another particularly ill-timed reflection of this political flaw. Bernie has seized the progressive momentum away from her, and this is how she responds. It oozes floundering, weakness, showing potential voters that she is really on the ropes. Can Sanders administer a knockout blow to a wobbly Warren by winning decisively in Iowa? Well, I think that's a pretty good chance. Oh, and New Hampshire. All of a sudden, this is not out of the question. So that's from Liberty Nation, which is I got Liberty Nation and another one mixed up. Is everyone okay in the chat there? By the way, I just want to make sure we're all happy and joyful. Hope everything's cool in there. By the way, another quick thank you for you guys. I'm going to move on to Twitter trends there. But for Green Thunder to Mighty and RVA for tweeting out the show this morning. I appreciate that. If you haven't already shared the show, you can do that by clicking the arrow down below. That would be the share button. And you just do a couple clicks and you can share this out on Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr, Reddit, wherever you share stuff. I don't know where that is necessarily. And you can also participate in the show with super chats. I will definitely read those out loud. Hopefully they won't be part of this conversation going on in the chat, but super chats and donations to the show help me improve the show as I build a studio in the basement. I'm going to be changing up the things. By the way, right there, do you see that back there? It's this way. Do you see that? Right there. See that cup? You might want to take a look at that cup later. It's pretty cool. Speaking of Iowa, that's from a cup, the Des Moines Register. You might not be able to see it now. Hey, how you doing, Ricky Ravioli? I've never seen that name before. All right, I'm glad to see you here. All right, cool. Most of us are A-okay. Thank you, Jay Wolf, for letting me know. And also, Cynical Lindsay, I'm glad you're fine. All right. Let's get into Twitter trends and get the hell out of Dodge, because that's what we do every day. We try to look at Twitter trends and see what's happening in the world, what's happening now, what's happening a little bit ago. What are people going to be talking about for the rest of the day? Now, sometimes there's a good trailer or a good a header on the Twitter trends when you hit the Explore tab when you're on your computer. And today it seems to be promoting some video from executive producer Jordan Peele. Some movie called Hunters TV. I don't know. Interesting, because it's executive producer Jordan Peele. Now, I thought Jordan Peele said he wasn't going to have any white leads in any of his movies or anything, but apparently Al Pacino's the headliner in Hunters. Go figure. Whatever. It's all good. Jordan Peele, and let me just get this straight right now. Jordan Peele is an immensely talented performer, director, writer, and all that stuff. He's a funny dude. He's part of the Key and Peele guys, and he's the guy who did Get Out, and I don't know what the other one was, but Get Out was a decent movie. I thought it was interesting. Kind of had a Invasion of the Body Snatchers flavor to it, but it was kind of cool. Anyway, I have no idea what Hunters TV is about, but it's an Amazon original. Good luck, Jordan Peele. Moving on into trends. Trending number 1 is Megan. I'm wondering if this is like what's her name? Megan Thee Stallion, I'm guessing. She's a hip-hop artist. I don't know much about her. Megan Thee Stallion and G-Eazy, the entirety of Twitter, saying...
Man, go playing with me, man.
Anyway, I don't know anything about her other than... woke up to Megan Thee Stallion getting her face kissed and sucked by G-Eazy. Okay, that's some entertainment stuff I don't really care that much about. Trending number 2, Monday motivation. You gotta always have the Monday thing, and that first Monday thing is Monday motivation. Let's see here. Okay, Monday motivation. The first one here is somebody named Cash. Please consider endorsing Catalina Love, who's running in Illinois 14. Okay, don't know anything about her. She's an attractive young lady, though. Let's find a good Monday motivation, though. Let's see, 53. Nope, we're not going to do anything sports. Oh, here's some Monday motivation for you from the Super Bowl. Monday motivation: be like Shakira and J-Lo and shake off all the haters. Okay, the gift's not moving though. Okay, get the gift. There we go. There they go. Yeah. Speaking of which, did you watch the Super Bowl? Did you all? Oh, hi, Advocatus Diaboli. How you doing? Is that the show where they hunt down Nazis? I don't think so. Did you? I thought the halftime show was good. I mean, obviously, times have changed. There were some people bitching about, oh, Janet Jackson paved the way for these two to be on there shaking their booties and being on stripper poles. You know what? I don't know. If you don't have, look, if there's a stripper pole on the Super Bowl halftime show and you have a 10-year-old watching, do you have to explain to them that it's a stripper pole or what a stripper pole is? Or you just say, hey, this is entertaining and try to, forget about it. Of course, not, I don't know. Oh, hey, here's a Monday motivation. Get this guy. It's not Prince. No, Prince did probably the best. Arguably top 3, and I would say the best halftime show of the Super Bowl I've ever seen. Because you knew it was live. Everything he did was right out of him. Even when it was raining, he just kept the show going, and it was fantastic. Yes, yeah, I hope I look as good as J-Lo at 50. I hope I look good as J-Lo at 50, and I'm already past 50. Man, she looks great for a 50-year-old, and I think Shakira's like 43 too. So the two ladies past 40, past 50, looking pretty hot, doing their thing, right? Get this man out of the White House. Oh yeah, that's an ad. That's their money motivation. Let's see. Let me find a good one. Oh, great. Oh, this explains everything. Oh, Donald Trump was the dumbest goddamn student I ever had. Good for them. I want a motivation. And we may not get... Okay, here we go. Sometimes you need to step outside, get some air, and remind yourself or who you are and where you want to be. I'm thinking they need an editor. I think that's a misquote. since you are on Twitter, did you get that thing I tagged you in? I'll have to take a look. I'm sure I did. I'm talking to Pincalo. By the way, hi Pincalo. How you doing? All right. We're gonna move on. Twitter trends real quick. I'll check hashtag today too, and check my mentions here. Trump is an idiot is trending number 3. I know why this is trending. People are mad. Oh, cause you know, I know why. I know why this happened. See, Trump did one of those Obama things, right? He congratulated the Kansas City Chiefs and said, originally tweeted out something about the great state of Kansas and then deleted it very quickly, but obviously some people caught it and put it on there, and they changed it to the great state of Missouri. It's humorous because the Kansas City Chiefs, who are from Kansas City, Missouri, but let me remind you that the people in Kansas City, Kansas also embrace the Chiefs. It's a metro area that there's a Kansas City, Missouri side of Kansas, and there's a Kansas City, Kansas side of Kansas, and everybody in Kansas City, Missouri, and Kansas City, Kansas root for the Kansas City Chiefs. So honestly, he could have said, well, from people from the great state of Missouri and Kansas who both celebrate the Kansas City Chiefs, but whatever. Anyway, the Kansas City Chiefs are from Kansas and Trump's many other geography flubs, blah, 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 blah. Trump's an idiot. Okay. Yep, and there it is. Congratulations to the Kansas City Chiefs on a great game and a fantastic comeback under immense pressure. You represented the great state of Kansas and, in fact, the entire USA very well. He did, I think, almost immediately, delete and retweet it to say Missouri, but whatever. Moving on. Iowa caucus is trending number 3. I'm shocked that it's not trending number 1. Oh, I love how engaged today's youth are. This is Joe Walsh, the guy who's running against President Trump for the Republican primary. Oh my God, I love how engaged today's youth are. We talked about civic engagement and big issues dominating their futures, like the national debt and climate change at Sweetwater's in Des Moines. Iowa caucuses, be brave. Here's Joel Pollack. Here's how the winner will be declared in the Iowa Democratic caucuses. We don't need to read that. We've talked enough about that. All right, we know why it's trending, because it's happening today. Then people are going to be talking about that all night, especially tomorrow. So there we go. Moving on. Let's get into the rest of the twins. Let's go through the rest of the twins day. The other twin of the day is number 5, Halftime Show 2020. It was good. I thought it was a good halftime show. For those who feel Super Bowl halftime show is a family-friendly affair, I beg to differ. Super Bowl ads and parties are all about drinking beer. There's gambling and betting. It's an adult event. Otherwise, there would be millions of dollars of ads about toys and games. Super Bowl halftime show. You know what? I don't care. If you took your kids to a concert that featured Beyonce or Shakira or Janet Jackson or Madonna or Lady Gaga or what's the other one? J-Lo. J-Lo was the big name on that. They'd be seeing the same shit. Whatever. The J-Lo and Shakira halftime show wanted to be about girl power, but its hypersexualization put women on the sidelines. Oh, snap. That could be. I don't know. Oh my goodness. Are people like, is that what people are saying? Sideline women during this year's Super Bowl halftime show. Took Jay performance that was supposed to be out. Okay. That's for the Washington Examiner. Let's see. What a powerful statement. Can't get over it. Latina sang to be heard. Yes. Oh, yeah. They were saying that there were kids in cages. That's what this statement was about. Replay halftime show. Tears. J-Lo and Shakira brought the children in cages on stage. Then J-Lo says, Latinos, let's get loud, as M brings Born in the USA with offense. Background, powerful statement. Yeah, nobody noticed it until you brought it up. Only in America will you find people like MAGA crowd who think cheating on your wife with a porn star is no big deal, but two strong and proud Latino women singing and dancing is outrageous. Halftime show 2020. I thought it was a fine halftime show. I'm sorry. Other moms, this is a family show. So disappointed that there was a stripper pole. How inappropriate. Me. Wow, the way Shakira moved her hips and the workout J-Lo did on that pole. These women are freaking athletes. Okay. My daughter doing an impression of Shakira. This show is everything. Oh, she put the tongue out there. That's not that. Now that thing with the tongue she did, just FYI. Shakira is half Lebanese. That's an Arabic thing you do. Just FYI. Oh, all they want to talk about is Bey and Jay-Z sitting down, but y'all are going to ignore this. Yes, the kids in cages things, which is just bullshit anyway. Oh, man walks around shirtless, flaunting his sexuality, and women go wild. Women cover their lady parts, but highlight their curves and exude sexuality, and they are shameful, disgrace for children, should act appropriate for their age, double standard much. Oh my God, I'm going to have to go through. I didn't know that there was this much consternation about the halftime show. We'll move on. Number 6, Army Selka Day. That is K-pop skip. Gerald, music and radio trending. The names of Gerald Gilliam. Pleased to meet you. I'd rather, what? No G-Eazy slander in this fine morning. Guess got word Gerald has been outside. You see those. Okay, I don't know what this is about. I don't care. I'm just going to move on. This is something about that Megan Thee Stallion. G-Eazy is trending. Also, Megan Thee Stallion. Greyhound is trending. Oh, no. There's a Greyhound bus shooting in California. 6 passengers on a Greyhound bus headed from Los Angeles to San Francisco were shot early Sunday morning, the California Highway Patrol said. 6 passengers shot on a Greyhound bus. 1 person was killed. 5 others were wounded Monday morning after a shooting on a Greyhound bus. California Highway Patrol says the bus, carrying about 40 passengers, was headed from Los Angeles to the San Francisco area. Okay. That's too bad, man. Not good. Well, we're not safe in schools. We're not safe in malls. We're not safe on bars. We're not safe in buses. All because we have too many guns in America and they are too easy to get. You know, too easily to get illegally, because I'm gonna say it's probably not a legal gun owner again. There's just, I don't know, we've got an issue with just people. Good God. Dear Matt is trending in politics. What is Dear Matt? Dear Matt, the Chiefs play in another state. Okay. Someone named Matt Schlapp said, Dear East Coast establishment, Kansas City is in Kansas. It's in both, in Kansas and it's in Missouri, and both towns embrace the Kansas City Chiefs. Did you tweet this from the offices of your lobbying firm, your $3 million D.C. area home, or your weekend place in the Shenandoah Valley? Dear Matt Schlapp, congratulating Kansas and not Missouri on Chiefs win is stupid. You're welcome, Midwesterners, for minimal awareness of the freaking world around you. Yeah, it's Jesus Christ. Kansas City's in both Kansas and Missouri. For those of you not from the Midwest, the following states have a city town named Denver. Oh my gosh. Alabama, Arkansas, Florida, Georgia, Idaho, Illinois, Indiana, Iowa, Kentucky, Denver, Missouri, New York, North Carolina, Ohio, Oklahoma, Pennsylvania, South Carolina, Tennessee, West Virginia. And they didn't put Colorado, but the Broncos play in Colorado. Yeah, you know what? It was just a flub. Just like when Obama said, I've been to all 57 states. Or I've been to 57 states so far. It's a flub. People do it all the time. Trump does it a lot. Adam Levine is trending. Apparently he performed at the Super Bowl pre-show or something like that. But people are mad because people are complaining about the J-Lo and Shakira thing, and reminder that Adam Levine took off his entire shirt to perform last year at the Super Bowl, and no one said it was trashy or not family friendly. So please stop with the J-Lo Shakira shaming. You know what? People gonna bitch about the Super Bowl no matter what, especially the halftime show. So, and whatever, who cares? Microsoft Teams is trending number 14. Looking at Microsoft Teams, what? We're investigating an issue where users may be unable to access Microsoft Teams. We're reviewing the system data to determine the cause of the issue. More information can be found in the admin center under TM202916. Something's going on with Microsoft. Goes down after Microsoft forgot to renew a certificate. Okay, so if you use Microsoft Teams, I don't care. Moving on. Hey, Mr. Ripper, how you doing? Jill Biden's trending. Oh, let's see. Jill Biden on Lindsey. Oh, good God. I think she's mad because Lindsey Graham's about to have some investigating done on some Burisma shit, and also the whistleblower. At least he says he is. Former Second Lady Jill Biden said Monday that she no longer considers herself a friend of Senator Lindsey Graham, the Republican chairman of the Senate Judiciary Committee, who has sought investigations into her husband and stepson. Okay. Don't care. Lindsey Graham, the senator from South Carolina, whom I think you count as a friend, John Berman said before Jill Biden interjected. Yes, we did. Yes, she said, adding Graham's comments have been hurtful. Hey, sorry they've been hurtful. I'm still wondering how your stepson got that job and got that big contract in China for $1.5 billion with a B dollars. Just how it is. Sorry. Y'all been investigating Trump for everything that has come down the pike, and maybe with some cause, but whatever. Investigations happen and your shit looks dirty. It may not be dirty, but it'd be good to investigate it instead of just telling people it's been debunked. It hasn't been debunked. But debunked by who? All right, moving on. Drakengard, something gaming I'm skipping. Pat Connaughton. You know what? What's weird? Have you noticed? Okay, Pat Connaughton has accepted an invite to the dunk contest per Shams, whatever that is. Already committed Aaron Gordon, Dwight Howard, and Derek Jones Jr. Milwaukee's Pat Connaughton has committed to the invite to the NBA Slam Dunk Contest. Okay, yeah, because you gotta have your Caucasian brother. Good for him. Don't know anything about him. We'll see how he does. Moving on. Buddy Holly's trending. Why? Oh, because this is the day the music died. Passed away on this day in 1959, the Big Bopper, Richie Valens, and Buddy Holly, the day the music died. You know what? I visited that site where Buddy Holly's plane crashed. This is the day the music died. On this day in 1959, the world lost Buddy Holly, Richie Valens, and J.P. Richardson, and Roger Peterson, who was the pilot. Buddy was only 22, and if you take a look at his huge music catalog, you can see just how incredibly talented he was. Rest in peace, and may your music live on forever. It was cool. In the 70s, Linda Ronstadt did an album of several Buddy Holly songs. And it was actually a pretty good take on Buddy Holly stuff. But I did a video on going to that site, and maybe I can find it here real quick while I'm looking at this. We'll go to my channel here, and I'll put that in the chat if you want to check that video out. It's I was driving, I'd been driving that stretch of highway, I-35. For as long as I've lived up here. I've lived up here in the Twin Cities for, this is going on 31 years now. In fact, I think it was 31 years this month. And driven that highway, and I always knew that in Clear Lake, Iowa, there was the site where Buddy Holly's plane crashed. And I'm like, one of these days I'm going to try and find that site. And so a couple years ago, I was driving home from Omaha, visiting my mom, and I thought, you know what? I'm going to see if I can find that site. So I had my phone sitting on the console of my car, and I go, okay, Google. Oops, that was a mistake. There goes my thing. Navigate to Buddy Holly crash site, and poof, on the map comes up my Google map with directions. Stop it. Oh, that's my other one going. I made a mistake of doing that. So I ended up going to the site and doing a little video there, and let's see if I can find it. I'm sure I'll find it here in a second. Here we go. So here's I'll put the video up on here, and I'll just put there. It's in the chat. So there's my visit to except I don't want it to play right now. There it is if you want to watch that one later. Pretty interesting side trip there. All right, so that's it for today, gang. I gotta go. Did I miss one of the trending things here? Anyway, Buddy Holly was amazingly talented and prolific songwriter. Had a huge book. Richie Valens was just coming to his own. He was only 17 years old. And then Richardson, the Big Bopper, he was kind of a novelty act, but he was pretty popular. He was more of a DJ back at the time, but he had a couple hits. The biggest one was Chantilly Lace, or I think it was called Chantilly Lace. Chantilly Lace and a pretty face and a ponytail hanging down, wiggling and walking and giggling and talking. Oh, make the world go round, round, round. I ain't nothing in this world. Big-eyed girl, make me laugh so funny. Make me spend my money. Make me feel real loose like a long-necked goose. Oh, baby, that's what I like. So anyway. And there's my musical interlude for the day. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I gotta go. Thank you for being here today on the Morning Night Live. I'm sure we'll talk about the Iowa caucuses tomorrow. We'll talk about the State of the Union, which is coming up. That's gonna be like, I don't know what to expect for the State of the Union. I just cannot wait. I'm just saying. I'm just like, I don't know what he's gonna do. I don't know. And is Nancy going to give that really weird little clapping thing she does? I don't know. It's hilarious, though, that they think that impeachment is going to have a great effect on Trump and how he does things. I think he's going to start wearing it as a badge of honor almost, because it's been so just partisan BS ever since he got into office, and they've hated him since the day the returns came in, and that little green dress, whatever that person was, heard it and looked at the camera and screamed, "No!" Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, he's still your president. Oh, Mr. Scott, I didn't even know you're here. And Becca Fairley, how you doing? I'm glad I'm catching you on the way out. Anyway, before you go, hit the like button if you haven't done it already. If you are new here, please subscribe, hit the bell, and if you're watching after the fact on a replay, please put a comment in the comment section so that I know you were here and I can say thank you, so I can, thank you for being here. And then if you want to donate to the channel, you can do that through Streamlabs. That's in the link down below, or it pops up in the chat every once in a while. Go check out my video of the Buddy Holly site. It's a short one. You'll be interesting. That's in the chat. But that's it for today, people. I must go. My name is P-Dog Knight, and I'm out of here. Have a great day. Hey, this is P-Dog Knight, and thank you for watching today on the P-Dog Knight channel. If you have an observation or remark you'd like to make about this video or my channel, I absolutely welcome you to write it in the comment section down below. I really look forward to hearing from you. And before you go, if you like what you saw but you're not already subscribed, please make sure you hit the subscribe button and definitely click that bell that pops up afterward so you'll be notified when I post new videos or when we go live. I broadcast my live show, The Morning Night Live, Monday through Friday at 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 o'clock Central. A special thank you to all supporters of this channel who share share our videos on social media, and who make donations through the Streamlabs link, which is also in the description down below. Thanks again, and until next time, I'm P Dog Knight, and I'm out of here.